Hello everyone, you're specially welcome to Westerly Podcast on the real people's issues. My name is Michael Chukwudi and it's an exciting moment, it's an exciting time for us to talk about matters and issues that are affecting young people, teenagers and youth, wherever and several places. And it is something that is very, very spectacular because we see a lot of cases, we see a lot of troubles, we see a lot of challenges affecting young people today. And most of them are finding it difficult. They don't know the way out. They don't even know how they got there. So today in this podcast, we'll be discussing a very serious issue, a very serious matter that has affected and is still affecting young people today. But I'm not the only one in this studio. I am here with some persons. First of all, I want to introduce my co-host, Mrs. Abigail Michael George. You're welcome. You're welcome. And we have our special guest for today's podcast. He is a very special someone I respect so much. He has affected the life of teenagers and young people, with records of transforming and life-changing events and programs that young people can testify to. And he's not that person that Pastor Chidiebere Onuigbo. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir. Pastor Chidiebere Onuigbo, he's the senior pastor of Dominion City Prime, Owerri, the Teens and Youth Church of Dominion City, and he's also the president and founder of Brodec, a youth-based foundation that has affected the lives of young people. So it's a pleasure having you in this podcast today. You're welcome so much.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome, our co-host. It's good to have you. And by the way, today is our birthday, so we are saying a shout out to your happy birthday, ma. Happy birthday. You're really a blessing to our world. You're a blessing to every one of us. All right. So before we proceed, in today's podcast, we'll be talking about addiction, the way out. Yes, addiction. I know a lot of persons are caught up in this mess. Some persons don't know how they got into it. Some persons don't even know what they did to even get into it. And it's really eating them up. It's just like the little foxes that eat up the vine. All right. So I am trusting God that in this podcast, somebody out there will be free, will be delivered from every form of addiction. Okay, that has imprisoned him or her. All right. So that is what we'll be going, and that's what we'll be doing in today's podcast. Thank you so much. As I hand over to our co-host, Mrs. Abigail.
Okay, everyone, we're just going to be discussing the root cause of addiction, how teenagers can get over it, and why did they even get into it in the first place. So I will start by asking, what is addiction? I'll guess, Pastor Chidi, can you help us? What can you say about addiction?
Alright, so first things first, I must show my gratitude for having to find me fit enough to be here with us this morning. Thank you so very much. And we must get to understand that addiction works in two ways. We have it in the positive angle, and then we have it in the negative angle. But I want to believe that we are more geared towards the negative angle, because we've seen a lot of the negative part of addiction tilting towards the life of the young people, affecting them so badly and causing their choices. And if I'm to let us into what addiction is, I would say it's a chronic condition.
Wow.
Yeah, it's chronic first. Then second, it's a condition that gets people hinged on. And by the time you get hinged on such conditions, it's quite difficult to come out of those conditions. And when these things begin, they don't just sound an alarm that they began. They come in slowly, subtly, just sneaking from where you don't even imagine. And once you are hinged on these conditions, trust me, you will find it quite difficult to find your way out. It's easy to come in, but quite difficult to step out.
Wow, easy to come in,
to come out. Yes, and it's something that every young person must be brought to its awareness. Because as beautiful as addiction appears to be, that's not the same way it feels eventually at a later on stage when you continue in the process. At a long run, if I'm to say, it doesn't taste at a long run the same way it tasted in the very beginning. And that's why it must be avoided by every minute. I speak like this because I used to be an addict of multiple things.
Wow.
Yes, ranging from multiple things.
Yes.
It's terrible that that one addiction can ruin your life. Then you can imagine what multiple negative addictions.
That's disastrous.
Yes, what multiple negative addictions can do to your life.
Terrible.
That's terrible. And I wasn't just hinged on one, I was hinged on 1, 2, and 3.
Wow, how did you survive? Well, we'll get to hear that.
We'll get to that part.
Wow.
You say something about positive addiction. Like growing up, I never knew there's anything like positive addiction. Is it addiction to the Bible or to the Holy Ghost? Or, I don't understand.
Addiction to good living. I never knew anything about it. Your ability to have that consciousness of being neat. There are people who are addicted to being neat.
Like perfectionists.
Most of them are not necessarily perfectionists. They are just people who cannot deal with deaths around them. There are people who you walk into their house, every time you come in, the place is organized. Yeah, and that is something to commend to a reasonable extent, because nobody would want to step into a house that has not been swept for. There are people who live in a house
that are very comfortable.
1 week they've not swept the house, they're very comfortable. But there are some other persons who are addicted to living neat. Meanwhile, there's a saying that goes like this, that cleanliness is next to godliness. And it takes somebody who is fully interested in being neat to love keeping his or her surroundings neat. As a Christian, I'm addicted to studying the Bible. And that's the only security and safe zone I have. If I don't study the Bible, the pace with which I should study it, in today's dispensation will weary me out. So I'm addicted to praying, I'm addicted to studying the Bible. Somebody will say, I'm quite religious right now, but these are my safety or my safe zone.
That means these are the positive addictions.
Positive
Yeah.
addictions.
So I want to get it clearly. So when you talk about addictions, when will you say someone is addicted?
Okay. We can say one is addicted when they've gotten to the point of no control.
Okay, no control.
Yes, at that point, you can no longer control yourself from the usage of that substance or whatever habitual act you are now involved with. At that point, your brakes are missing. That's just like you driving in a car, and when the brake fails, there's no more control. You're heading for doom. At that point, one can be in the act of the very thing that he or she is dissatisfied about, but cannot stop.
Okay.
Yes.
It's fine about it, but
Cannot stop. Yes.
So that's where the problem
When you
is.
know that what you're doing is wrong.
It's wrong.
But there's
You
no way
can't
can
help
stop.
it.
Your
You
will
can't-
has-
cannot
you
just
don't have
help.
the power to stop it anymore.
Good.
That's
Wow.
terrible.
Because at that point, it has gone beyond your will. Your will is no longer in your own control. That very substance you are hitched on, that very act you're hitched on, has now taken over your willpower, thereby being the real determiner as to when to stop and when not to stop.
Wow.
And that's the point I got to personally in my life, and I started crying now. I had to start crying so badly. If I'm permitted to say, I was hinged on masturbation.
Wow.
Yeah, from the ages of 12.
That's far too young.
From the ages of 12 through the ages of 22.
Wow. That's like 10 years of addiction.
Okay,
10 years.
so
Wow.
you would. That's terrible. That's very terrible. So you would be in the process. You're crying. Your hands are where they ought to be, you know. And then you're crying, and you're wishing that you are not doing what you're doing, but you
can't
cannot help it.
Oh.
It looks like something else takes over you. It looks like your peace of mind can never come until
You've
done that very act. And that's the point where a lot of people do not see. It's like the thug life, the gangster life.
Yeah.
You see a gangster on television, they are there doing like this, showing all the signs, throwing all the darts, behaving in the house, sagging their trousers, spraying their hair, living, reckless. All of those things look attractive. All of those things look beautiful. But they don't get to show you the other side of thug life, which is going to prison, which is getting a death sentence, which is getting shut down. Do you understand? And that part is the most devastating part, because it is quite difficult to return from that part when you get to that lane.
And the pain it causes the families of these people who are.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Now, when you were talking about this one, something came to my mind. People say masturbation, drugs, and all that, but there's something like they forget the subtle kind of addiction, like mobile addiction.
The mobile phones, even food. People can be addicted to food, such that
You just eat anyhow.
and wherever you see food, you just want to eat it, you just want to consume it. I think addiction exists in that.
There are addictions in that line. People who become obsessed with eating. When things go wrong in their life, the only way they can sort it out is by eating heavy meal. And one other disadvantage of that is that when you start eating like that, it's just a matter of time. Your body weight begins to change. You see a slim fitted person begins to now add in body size. And then that also gives room for you to now start sleeping excessively. Because there's no way you eat too much food that it doesn't dull your body. It causes you to go into excess sleep. And once you begin to sleep too much, a little sleep, a little slumber.
And your poverty will come up on you like
your poverty because he has your home address.
Okay, everyone. Now we've talked about addiction. Now we want to look into the root cause of addiction.
Okay.
What causes addiction? Like peer pressure, parenting, uncles, aunties. What could be the
how come about this addiction?
Yes.
Where does it come from? How does addiction really begin?
Well, addiction begins from every angle you can ever imagine. There is peer pressure, there is physical and sexual abuse, there is poor parental management which can also cause it, there is environmental conditions which can cause such things to come into involvement. For me, mine started with peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Okay.
Peer pressure. Now I grew up in a neighborhood where we had more children than we had more parents.
Wow. Okay.
We had more children were everywhere. Okay, and people when these children gather, they come with all their baggages. And when they present those things to us, it makes it look like it's one of the best experience ever. And when they are talking about it and they are not following up, you begin to look like a Jew man. You begin to look like one who doesn't know how to fix
You don't
it.
know what's up.
You don't know what's up.
You don't belong.
You don't understand?
You are a king.
Yes, you're a king. You're outdated. So in order to be updated and not outdated, you get the point now.
In order to be updated and not
So you need to get involved. That's how I got involved. Yeah, peer pressure caused me to get involved because we had this group of boys. Every time we met, then back in the days, every time we met, back 2004, 5, 6.
Okay.
Every time we met, what we're saying is, how many times did you masturbate today?
Wow.
How many did you do today? You will hear boys say, I did 4 today. I was Jew man. You don't know what they talk about. Some other persons were doing 6. Some were doing 7 in a day.
You guys were just bragging about.
Just the brag right around the fact that
So it now makes you begin to feel inferior.
Inferior. Do you understand? You're not meeting up the target.
Oh,
you know the target. You're not meeting up the target. And if you're not meeting up the target, when those boys begin to talk, you just have to keep quiet and look like a dummy, like one who does not even matter. And because you want to matter, because you want to show that you are important, my brother, you will have to go home out of the innocence of your heart. Go back home and begin to
add pressure to yourself.
add pressure to your.
I have a question, but is it right to do something because everybody's doing it?
No, but the truth is that many young persons do not know this. I, for one, didn't know. I didn't know. I felt that once you're pressured to do something, it is only right. That's why they're pressuring you. Because if it's not right, they wouldn't pressure you. So when I was getting all the pressure from my friends, from all those boys in the street, I felt like this was. Oh God, I don't know how truthful we can be in this show. But then some of the older children, because in our league we had the older children, then we had the younger ones. So those older ones will tell you that you already have a little penis, and the only way your penis can get bigger is by you getting it involved.
They also sold that life to me.
Oh, they sold it to you. Okay.
God, they sold it to me. Yes.
So
and I believed it. And I believed it because since I was not involved in anything, the thing is just there. So it started getting to me. Then how do I need to, measure up so that?
Because you need to measure up. Yeah, this brother has to, be enlarged.
My God.
His coast has to be enlarged. So you needed to help the brother to, get the point, come up. And in the bid for doing that, you begin to damage yourself. I didn't understand that your penis has to grow the same way your height is growing. You don't necessarily need to add pressure to develop. It will develop. In its seasons, it will develop. When the time comes, when the need arises, it will develop. I didn't know all those things. I had to start pressure. All of us were adding pressure. And while we had those things, it was damaging our mind because it wasn't just reflecting on our body, it was affecting our mind.
Yeah.
I didn't then know that just like every phone, when you buy a new phone, it has a memory card space.
Yeah.
Every human being has a memory card space, and their memory card space is their mind. I didn't know that I was loading the bad things in my memory card space.
Wow.
And when you buy a phone and by chance you collect a file that has a virus, once it enters that phone, it corrupts the whole phone.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that my own memory card was being corrupted by my own very self. So see what it does. I'm not standing with a lady. The only thing I'm picturing are the very things I picture when I'm in the moment of the act. I can't comfortably hug a lady. I can't comfortably sit side by side with a lady because the only picture I had about girls, women, is just the picture of the fact that they are built for sexual satisfaction.
Wow. That's
That's very terrible. That's very terrible.
Wow.
And I wasn't just addicted to masturbation. I was addicted to drinking alcohol. Yeah, and that one you do it on a low. Because you know, when I was growing up, we didn't grow up in a season where it was easy for you to show off that you're drinking.
Okay.
Our generation, it wasn't easy. Yeah, my generation was the generation that experienced blue film watching when there is nobody around. Unlike this generation now, my brother, the whole community.
You can find it anywhere.
Do you understand? It's easy to access. So in that generation, it was difficult to get us to do bad things in the open. So drinking alcohol, we had to use some of our bad older brothers to get, because you cannot go and buy. How can you go and buy Star? This brother, who give you mine? When you go to the shop to buy the Star, they will say, "Who sent you?"
Do you understand? And you can't tell the
shop. Can't tell them you're the one.
They will not sell to you.
They will not sell to you.
So you just said that if your elder brother.
My elder brother asked me to buy, and you come with your own bottle. Which of your elder brother? You now mention, this uncle in our yard said I should buy 3 for him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why I've made up my mind. This time I'm commencing my marital process and start giving birth. I'm not going to live in anything that has to do with public yard. Yard. You see yard. Nigerian version of yard. You see yard. Avoid yard. Because all the baggages of life are in the yard. Yard people. You see that thing? No, it's not. People, they use it as a thing of joke and fun. But when you go to a place where it's called yard.
But that's true because growing up, I came from a humble background. That way. So growing up, if I moved to my brother's house, we lived in a yard.
Of course,
different.
If
you see uncles, like I was much younger then. I was like 7 or 8. They come into my room. So what? And my mom, now based on the way we were, she was a hustler. So every morning she would leave the house trying to get ends meet so we could feed and all that. So innocently, I would just go in and.
Brother will now
begin to do things.
And that's how my sexual abuse began.
Yeah, because at that point you're so innocent and you don't really know.
You don't even know what the person was. Like I think I was 13 or so. We were living in a yard also. Those days in Port Harcourt, this young girl, she had put to bed there. I think she was around 18 or 19. So one of the days I was just the one that she just called me, "Hey, Chuku, come." And I came. Innocent to me. I got into their room. You understand? And she was like, why remove your clothes? I said, Ada, for what? She said, no, I want to take care of you. I said, take care of me. Imagine she locked the door. It was through with the window that I went down because I lived in the yard, I attended community primary school, the secondary school I was attending, there were bad guys. So I went and understood the signs, and this is what the sister wants to do. Now I took off for my life. You understand? Then when you get into school, and like the first time I tasted cigarettes, it was because of school. Just like what you're talking about pressure. You understand? You got into school, I know these guys, I say if you're not smoking, then set more risk. Just that if you're not smoking, it's as if you don't belong, you don't know anything. So one of the days, during the break session, we went to the back and this guy, they just brought out this thing and they just gave me one small one like that. And I took it, I was coughing. They started laughing at me. The thing they had a psychological impact on me. I was like, they're laughing at me because I'm too small, because I'm nice, because I went back home and I started doing rehearsal. So what I did is that in the night, I will not get a sheet of paper, fold it, light it, and I will start practicing. One day I told myself, what am I doing? You understand? And it's so bad. Imagine if God hadn't helped me, I would have been a very bad smoker. You know, and imagine my mom then was selling some of these things. So sometimes when people finish smoking,
you pick up the one that remains.
Light it up. And imagine smoking the remains of other people. Just imagine.
Aside from even the smoke, collecting the saliva that somebody has already put on.
And after somebody analyze on
it has so
many things are just on it. You understand? So there are a lot of issues, and today a lot of young people are addicted to smoking, addicted to drinking, addicted to some of them are even from their family background. Like the background I came from is a background whereby if you don't drink alcohol, like those days, my grandfather would early in the morning, he will come in those days, he used to call me Babangida. He will come Babangida, yeah, I will come. And he will now pour shot, kai, pour it inside the shot and give to me our drink. He said, then he will now bring snuff. And pour in the hand and give to me, and I will not take. Then he will now come and bring cool vegetable soup, and I will not wash down the kai and the snuff and all that. So imagine that kind of background. I can grow up with that kind of mindset that this is the way to live. Do you understand? And it's good. And by now I would have been a kai addict or a snuff addict. Okay, by now I should have and graduated from snuff to maybe more from to stuff like that. So there's so much talk about addiction.
Okay, that brings us to parenting. I just hope your parents watching this right now.
Yeah.
Because I've had cases where parents are actually the root cause of addiction in children. And one of those cases are preferential treatment.
Okay.
When one child is better than the other, I love this more than the other. Can you just throw more light? That's for me. I feel preferential treatment is also a root cause of addiction, because when the child feels less loved, the child will just look for something or just get involved into activities that will just help him out. So what can you say?
Parenting is one major root cause to addiction and negative living. Alright, for example, you cited an instance whereby your mom was out there fending for you guys, doing all that she could in order to make sure that everybody eats and are well taken care of. And in the bid of doing this, many parents tend to fail to pay the attention needed into the upbringing of their children. And when you do not pay the attention needed for your child's growth, your child will receive that same attention from somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah. One mistake made in today's dispensation is that people think that life can accept vacuum. Okay. Life abhors vacuum. That's why if we clean up this whole place today, step out of this place, come back 1 year later, it will be a mess.
Things must have
occupied it. Rats, lizards, spiders, cobwebs everywhere. The place will be a mess. So in that moment when the parent is showing preferential treatment on other children, negating this one, what this one does is to go look for a way out. And good number of the time, a greater percentage of them that go looking for a way out don't really find the way out. They find destruction. Yeah, they find destruction. You look at your child, the parent looks at the child and says, "You will believe it." For those of you who are not Igbo people, I'm not speaking Chinese right now. You believe the child. You believe me. You are foolish. You are this. You are that. At the end of the day, the child says, "Okay, if you say this is who I am, why not I live to the full of that expectation? This is the expectation you have for me. Let me go, and fulfill it with all righteousness." Parenting is a 100% job. It's not a part-time job.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, "You're not married." I've been pastoring for years, and I don't pastor adults. I pastor teenagers. They call you by 1 a.m. They call you by 2 a.m. They call you by 3 a.m. And at the end of the day, when you receive all these calls from these children, it goes on to tell you that though their parents are doing all they can, but they are not doing good enough. A lot of parents are paying more attention to their personal businesses than the natural God-given business, which is the act of parenting. The word parenting is not just a cliche, it's a full-time job. While you are at the job that is putting money in your pocket, you are also thinking about the other job that is not putting money in your pocket, because that one is more paramount than this one that is putting money in your pocket. Because I asked one question sometime. I asked somebody, what's your take on, you need money, right? The guy said yes. I said, okay, how much do you need? He said, at least if I get like 5 million now, I go do okay. He said, okay, what if we give you $2.8 billion? The boy smiled. And I told him, but you will not wake up tomorrow morning. Wow. He paused and told me no. I said, why? Of course, essence is it that I get the money and I don't leave. Then it now brings us to knowing what is fully important. Yeah. As amazing as money is, as fantastic as money is, you cannot compare it to the importance of life. This is something that every parent must understand. We don't get married so that we can go in and run marathon every day and night. You are producing children. As the children are coming out, there should be plans on how to raise those kids. You look at today's dispensation, we have a current news that always coming up on social media, for example. And then we have this current news that I don't know if I even have the privilege of having to raise it on this platform, where you have these two young boys that someone helped, sent abroad to go study, and then all of a sudden they started misbehaving, started smoking, started drinking, started living anyhow. Those people did not come from heaven direct. They came from a family. There's a mother and a father that gave birth to those people. What's their role?
Because they were supposed to nurture these people.
You understand? Because life is first of all a gift from nature that depends on nurture, that is now being influenced by environment. Family must understand it, that if you don't nurture this nature, environment will do it for you. And when you fail to bring nature, or nurture rather, the nature of that child is going down the drain by the aiding forces of environment. And that's why every parent must learn to pay attention. That's why when I gave my life to Christ, I was a bad boy all throughout my secondary school days. I was a low-key bad boy. Low-key bad boy. You only know I'm a bad boy if you're in the street. If you're not in the street, you wouldn't know. When I gave my life to Christ, I gave a full-blown turn back toward those kind of life. Because that's where you find the peace that makes no sense to anybody.
Okay, sir. I want to ask a question because there are two scenarios. One is I've seen parents who are doing all they can.
Okay.
You understand? To help the child become better.
Okay.
You understand? Yet this child is not turning out. He's still into stores.
Okay.
And we don't want to let go. How do we handle that kind of child? That's one. Secondly, I have seen parents who are tried in their heads or on their mind, they are protecting the child, but they don't know that this child has gone farther than they thought. You know, sir? Like I've seen parents who will tell you, no, I don't want my child to come to any of these activities in church so that he will not corrupt them. Or I don't want my child. But they don't know that that child has already been there, is already doing things. You understand? So what do we tell parents with respect to that their children have already gone far in some sports, but they think they are protecting them. Like you might meet a parent will tell you that, okay, I don't allow my children to watch TV or to watch some programs and all that. But those children go to school. They have friends. They have their phones. They have their laptops. You understand? Sometimes I've seen parents who have been protective. Some of them are even overprotective. Yet the child is still into stuff. So what do we tell these parents? That's the second question.
Okay, the answer to the first question simply is, there's an Igbo adage that says, "Otu onye ana-azụ nwa." Alright? One person doesn't rear or cause a great upbringing for a child. It's a communal job. You've tried, it's not working as a parent. Get somebody that is closer to that child. In the church where I am, I've seen parents walk up to me and say, regarding this and this, I've tried and it didn't work. And I asked them, what approach did you use? Because most times the problem is the approach. Okay. Most parents are not up to date with the right kind of approach towards their children. Mind you, the raising of every child is custom made. Okay. It is custom made. The way I raise child A should slightly differ from the way I raise child B. Because though they bear the surname, the same surname, though they have the same blood flowing in their stream, but guess what? They are not the same individuals. They are traveling towards different pathways. So you must study them carefully to know. But if you do not have that opportunity to know all this, find an additional help. That you give birth to a child does not mean that you must be their mentor. You mustn't necessarily be the one to mentor them. Yeah. There are cases where we've seen a lot of persons being given birth to by good men. But guess what? The people that made them become who they are today are not their parents. Yeah. Find people that they can easily relate with, people that are trustworthy. You come to my church, there are parents that say, "Nah, because I want my son to do this, but he's not doing it. This is where he's having issue." Once they speak to me about it,
You know how
I know how to speak to that child. How far? Sit down. What's up? I can take him and we go on an ice cream hangout. All right? And because he loves the vibe I'm bringing, the mother is bringing supposed outdated vibe. Me, I'm bringing the trending
something that
vibe.
he can relate with.
Yeah.
Something he can relate with. And when that begins to happen, you see the child wants to pay attention to the direction of what feeds his interest. Most parents don't know how to do that. So then secondly, we must understand that when you are going for life-changing workshops, meetings, events, and keep your child behind, something else is going to be mentoring them while they are in the house. I don't want them to go for this. I don't want them to go for that. You must understand that the challenges of life are things that nobody can run away from. As little as 12, a child of 12 has his own challenge. Take him to that place. His horizon will deepen. What makes us what we are is the knowledge we've gathered. We're a product of knowledge. The more the child begins to get the knowledge, he is now getting equipped and prepared. All those events you take him for are part of the things preparing him to become the better version of himself.
You know, it's funny how a parent will not take his or her child to church services, but you go to birthday parties. I don't understand.
You know, that's the part that hurts me
I don't
badly.
understand that.
Because birthday parties of today are what we call God help us. Alright? You go there, little children are twerking, smooshing, alright, doing all sorts of things. And their mother said, "Go baby, go baby, go baby, do you understand?" But then you do not know that that child is only a disaster waiting to happen in the rehearsal. He's already rehearsing this disaster that is coming. You know, we are in a situation whereby we have some parents who tell the children, "You can't go to school alone by yourself. You can't go to church alone by yourself. Wait for us, we will take you." But those children go to school
By
alone.
themselves. Come back by themselves.
You know, and that brings me to say that the spiritual growth of every child is a lot more important than his mental development and academic development and every other development. Yes, he needs education in order to effectively be a quality spiritual person. But when rearing a child, pointing first to his spiritual background.
Yeah.
Because today's world, the contention in today's world is spiritually based.
Everything.
The undertone of today's recklessness
Everything.
is spiritually backed up. Now, your child does not understand anything about the spiritual aspect of life. That's why they go to school. And you see today's school curriculum, they are teaching students, pupils, not students, pupils. They are teaching pupils masturbation. But I saw a video where a teacher was talking about masturbation in class, and the pupil stood up and said, "But I don't think Jesus likes this."
Wow.
Yeah.
So you see, it's because of the background that
Child has. So it is the background that is making that child stand up. And because that child said that in the school had to call the parents and say that the child was using hate speech. And there's other speech. The mother said no. That she's not going to remove the child from the school. And she's not coming for it because the school was calling her for a meeting. And that she's not coming for the briefing. And if they don't like the child in the school, the most they can do is get her to move her child from that school.
if our educational system has become this terrible and you don't have a spiritual, backing for your children, you are not training them spiritual, how do you think they can survive in this life?
They cannot survive.
How?
To worsen it, as it concerns parenting, there's something I see that happen all around, more especially in African culture and more importantly in Nigeria, where we hear things about ancestral curses, ancestral patterns. And one begins to ask, when is the best time to teach children, a woman and a man's offspring, about their ancestral rules? Most parents say, no, don't tell them. We're not sharing such information with them. And the only way they are helping their children is by avoiding it. And you forget that avoiding a thing does not necessarily take it away.
Of course, it doesn't exempt them.
It does not exempt them. Because this life was built on the basis of spiritual impacts, spiritual ancient transactions. Yeah. In in the church I pastor, we teach children about their spiritual heritage, their ancestral heritage. One of them took the message home, questioned the father. The father asked him, where did you get this information from? He said, that's what they taught us today in church. And that child was 16.
Wow.
As I'm talking to you, she's a girl in her father's house. That girl is the one, when it comes to praying and getting the faith that moves the finances of the family, is dependent on that child. The mother walked up to me and said, Pastor, I don't know what you guys have done to my child, but anytime we're trusting God for finances, she's the one.
So,
Children walk up to you, sir. I'm sorry I'm cutting you in, but these kids walk up to you and they tell you, sir, you see these things my mother is doing. I'm beginning to see them happen in my life. What do I do? That is a pattern. Teach these kids, because
let them understand.
Because
realities exist.
It's a system. Don't use all these tush white men mentality to run it away. Don't tush it away. You don't cover sin. You don't cover problem. When time reaches for sickness in your body to envelope, it will envelope. Let the carrier of the sickness know that there is sickness here. So the earlier they start treating it, the earlier, it annoys me that parents take out their time and teach their children about other people's ancestral patterns. They teach people about the history of England, the history of America, the history of this, the history of that. What about the history of your own family?
Your own history.
What is the history of your own family? That child does not know that madness runs in that family if they begin to touch this and this. And nobody tells them until they have grown up and the thing now begins to influence and affect their lives. That at that point, they now begin to look for help. And guess what? The energy, the capacity needed to battle with what the problem is no longer there. And that's why they fall prey and repeat the cycle by giving birth to children. And because they too are not qualified to inform the children, prepare the children for it continues and keeps running. That's why parenting is a full-time job.
Wow. No, thank you so much. I heard someone say something that history is the richest source of wisdom. Because when you look back and you see what has happened before, it will give you a clue of what is running in that bloodline and prepare you, to face that battle. Because the truth is that as long as you're in that bloodline, you must face it.
True.
A wise man will say something that your father's devil is your devil.
It's your devil.
You understand? So if your father faced it, be sure that there are certain things that my father went through.
Yeah.
And I saw it in my life. I said, man, I have got to conquer this thing.
True.
You understand? So it's very, very important. So bringing us back to addition, let us conclude in this aspect. How do these guys get out of this? Because I know so many people out there. Yeah. This thing is eating them up. Some of them, they are doing like what you say. You be doing that, you are crying. Some of them they're no longer feeling proud of themselves. So how can they get out of this mess? How?
All right. Well, there's no too much English. That's so so the best safety or the safest zone or the pathway to deliverance is Jesus. If I say it, I will not die. And I'm not saying it because I'm a pastor. I'm saying it because it is the reality. Yeah, because I could not find my way out of addiction until I met Jesus and I started following him.
Yeah. I want to say something. I also have my own testimony.
Okay.
I was also addicted to masturbation while growing up. I watched porn and all that. So it was 2018. We had an encounter retreat. I'm a member of the university. We had an encounter retreat. I went to meet my pastor. So I'm tired. I don't want to do this thing anymore. Can you please help me? Then he led me to Christ. And from that day to now, I have never done it again.
Wow.
So it can only be God.
There's something about being led to Christ. The first point of call is the point where you accept Jesus into your life as your Savior. The second point of call is where you begin to renew your mind. the journey of mind renewal.
Exactly.
Is-
And he gave me a scripture for that. Sorry, Galatians 2:20.
Okay.
For I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ lives in me.
Mm.
And the life which I live now in the faith and the fear of God, who has loved me and gave himself for me.
Wow.
He said, if anyone, anytime the thought for masturbation comes, just say this thing. And it became my favorite scripture.
No wonder you're saying so much confidence.
And that's why Romans 8:1 is the scripture for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it says there is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Christ Jesus. Alright? Now, what you understand is that if you are still in masturbation, if you are still hinged to the demonic clause of masturbation, you are under demonic oppression. There's condemnation all around your life.
And not just masturbation.
Yeah.
Even
Other things,
Other
smoking,
things,
drinking,
pornography,
womanization,
all of those.
pornography, and guess what? To the viewers watching, you cannot get this total wholeness without Jesus. Because right now, I'm hearing somebody say, but there are therapists who can help us. Yes, therapists can help you, but for a while. It doesn't go totally. Yeah, people like me that was in masturbation for 10 years. Therapy, I tried therapy. It worked for a couple of times, but then it didn't holistically took it away. All right, until I met Jesus. Jesus is not outdated. Jesus is not just one of those things we used to. He is real. Yeah, I knew Jesus. I started following after this. I just hope that you can understand that this is beyond the nature of my job. It is reality. It is the truth. Yeah, I was watching an interview like this. A wrestler, one of the wrestlers from WWE, the guy that usually masks himself with white, and then he came online. He was talking. He said that he was making all the money, having all the big fights, but yet he didn't have the peace he wanted. He was dying every day. He needed to be on pills. He had therapy for this, therapy for that, therapy for this, just so he can be okay. Before he can sleep at night, he will need to take like a couple of pills. But that after he gave his life to Jesus and started following after Jesus, that he can boldly tell us right now, he sleeps so well. And that's also my testimony.
Yeah.
So you are out there looking for a way to get saved from all these addictions that are ruining your life. You can't do it one leg in, one leg out. It has to be two legs fully in. Yeah, Jesus is your safest way out. Because if you're one leg in, one leg out, the devil will still have you on a platter. Jesus is just the way out, because that's also what gave me the safety and the peace I have right very at this point.
Wow, thank you so much. While I was thinking about this, something came into my heart. I've come to discover that behind every attitude, there's a spirit behind it.
Thank you.
Whatever attitude you're exhibiting, whether masturbation, pornography, whatever it is, there are spirit entities responsible for this. And just like the scripture says in Romans chapter, I think 8 verse 6, it says that for the mind controlled by the spirit is life. So our mind is controlled by spirit. And this spirit can gain access to our mind through the things we see, through the things we hear, through the things we perceive, through the things we even see or taste. You know that these are access points through which these things can even begin to control our mind. So if you're into pornography, into masturbation, just know that there is a spirit responsible for it.
Yeah.
So having the therapy does not give a holistic solution to it. That is why he's saying you need Jesus, because it is only the Spirit of Jesus, the Holy Ghost, that can help you get through it comfortably and permanently. There are a lot of testimony. Permanently, it gives you a permanent smash on whatever form of addiction. You can't help yourself. That's just the truth. You can't help yourself. You must acknowledge that first of all, man, I need help. Like you said, you got tired of it.
I got tired.
You got tired of it.
Yeah.
So no matter how appealing it might be to you, it's ruining your life. So you must first of all get tired of it. Acknowledge that you need help, and don't go any other place to seek for help. Jesus is the only person that can help you get through this addiction.
Sir, you see this thing that makes a man wants to look like a woman. That thing is not normal.
It's not what is normal
It's
about
not
it?
normal. You see that thing that makes a man wants to desire another man's anus in place of a woman. It's not normal.
Not normal.
No, it's not normal. Forget what the world may say. Forget how they paint the picture. Forget what. Listen, let me tell you, okay, that 100% people are saying something wrong does not make it right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that 100% of the people are saying 100% things that are wrong does not make that wrong thing to become right. Right now, in the city of this, in this town where we are, should I call the name of the city where we're filming from? This is Owerri. From the city of Owerri, in the city of Owerri, right inside this Owerri, plenty gay everywhere. That boys are not chasing, when men look at you, they're looking at your backside. No, there's a demon spirit causing that thing. I've never in my widest of imaginations and time of existence seen a dog looking for another male dog. I've never.
Animals are this same. How?
I've never. If you have, me, I've never. And if you did, maybe that's 1 out of 2 million animals. And 1% does not make it right. Yeah, it does not make it right. From time immemorial, if we had gone into the business of man sleeping with man, procreation wouldn't continue. And let me break it to worse. I don't think this is part of it, but I'm really like to touch this part. Okay? Now, I strongly believe that there is a high rate of depopulation in human population. All right? That some demonic influence people have created, and they sold it as an idea to us. Because guess what? When we start desiring our fellow sex, male to male, women to women, what it means is that we are depriving nature population. People will no longer have the need to want to give birth to children. That's one way to run out a race, a people, a generation. The more we keep desiring I like this, that desire Mike, with his very bone structured body, no flesh, nothing, flat chest, I begin to desire him. Something is wrong with me. Don't think it is normal. There's a way we speak English, we use English to cover it. My brother, we're more natural. There's a demon spirit that has already desired you and wants to make sure he ruins you. Because if your own father went in search of another man, you wouldn't have been here. And this is selfishness, extreme selfishness, that it gets to your turn for procreation to happen. All right? And then for procreation to happen, you want to annihilate everything that has to do with procreation. And that's what brings me to say, if this thing is so good, if man-to-man sex, woman-to-woman sex is so wonderful and fantastic, why not we create an island and carry everybody that is interested to sleep with fellow man and fellow woman and put them in that island? And let's come back 10 years after and see the progress they've made. Because if you want this thing, and there's another way it's being put right now. People now say, well, you can do anything you want to do, just don't bring it around me. I say it is wrong. Don't even do it at all. Not to say don't bring it around me, because not bringing it around me means you can just go and comfortably have your sin. You can go and rob everybody's house, but don't come and rob my own. That's wrong. It's demonic. If you are watching us this very morning or very afternoon, we have already gotten into the afternoon. If you're already watching us, I am speaking to you under the influence of God. There's a demon spirit that has desired you and has made sure that your life and destiny does not manifest. Don't be deceived. I'm shouting. Don't be deceived. Yeah, don't be deceived. A boy in church, a man in church, I was a younger boy, and this guy, as at the time, I was 17. At the time, he was 26. We go for vigil had ended. He says, let's go to his house. Innocent me, I'll follow him to his house. At night, he will just be massaging my leg. From massaging my leg, he started massaging my chest to my belly region. And for one of those times, I was not comfortable with that kind of touch. This touch, I don't understand it. I was not comfortable. From there, he started touching my buttocks. I went home and I told my mother, that brother keeps touching my buttocks. Is it normal? Is it normal? Because the way he presses my buttocks, I don't understand it. Few months down the line, he was arrested because he raped a boy in pool of blood. And on that age, the boy was 15. He came back with the boy and then sat the boy in, raped the boy kept screaming. He kept raping the boy till when he was satisfied, he left the boy in his house and walked away. The boy, all over him was blood. You can imagine forcing your penis through a young boy's. The anus does not have the strength to be elastic in nature. It does not. That's not what it is designed for. That I took microphone and I hit nail into the wall does not mean that that microphone is desired to hit nail into the wall. Its job is to produce
Sound.
If you're under the influence of this thing, the only thing you desire to do is to wear women clothes and do like this. And we see a lot of them on social media. And to worsen it. And now I'm talking to our ladies. Please stop encouraging it. A lot of our ladies encourage it. A lot of our ladies make them their besties. Stop encouraging it. It is not welcome development. It is a demonically developed program to wipe out humanity, to distance man from God. It's time we need to start reconciling with our thoughts that many negative things found around negative addictions are demon-built and developed.
Oh, this is really amazing. This is really amazing. Wow. Our viewers out there, I don't know what you're going through currently. I don't know the level of addiction. I don't know how far you've gone. I don't know how deep your water, has been. But the truth is this: you need help, and you can't help yourself. That's just the truth. You can't help yourself. Jesus is the way out. Jesus is the way out. So, in case you're going through any of these addictive, behaviors, and you want to reach out to any of us, there'll be phone numbers, attached to this video. So you can reach out to these phone numbers through WhatsApp, SMS, or even calls, and you can wherever you are, you can reach out to him. All right. So it's really amazing. This podcast will be coming your way again. So sit tight and always expect the best. Thank you so much, Pastor Chidi.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor having you. You've really done justice to this job, and we are grateful. Thank God for someone like you who is already in the teens and youth ministry. Trust God that God is going to do so much, so much with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to my co-host, thank you so much, Mrs. Abigail, and happy birthday once again. So until we come your way again on West Sunday Podcast, this is Real People's Issues, and I remain your host, Michael Chukudi George. Thank you, and God bless you.